Hi everybody, welcome back. In this episode, I'm building the timber frame and putting the cladding on the garage extension. I will be building on the concrete foundation from the previous video. Check the right corner of your screen if you haven't seen that. The first thing me and my buddy did was preparing the lumber to the right dimension and making a hole here and there for the bolt connections. Let's have a look on the design. So previously, the dimensions of the concrete were explained. Now we will start on the parts above it. The timber will stand on a stem wall to keep it high and away from the moisture. The walls are 100mm or 4-inch thick boards. The studs are 400mm or 16-inch on center. The wooden cladding has an air gap of 30mm or about 1 1/8 of an inch. And on the inside there's a sheet of 1/2-inch OSB and plasterboard. The roof construction consists of 70 by 150mm or 3 by 6-inch joist, and on the joist there's a layer of 20mm or 3/4 of an inch floorboards. Between the studs and the joists, glass wool insulation is installed. Then we assemble the timbers into the wall frames. We paid attention that they are butted up nicely to the plates so they were flush. This outside surface area wasn't perfectly flat. We used two 80mm or 3 1/4 inch screws per stud. On top of the first wall, we assembled the second smaller wall, and then we stapled on DPC plastic to the wood, which was in contact with other materials like the stone and the concrete. We lifted the wall up and then carried it into the place. This was about the maximum we could carry. At some point, it is difficult to get a grip on the wood. With some persuading, we made the bottom plates fit to the connection bolts in the concrete. They were pre-drilled, but one hole needed some more room. If you like this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing. Then the walls were stitched together with screws and the second row of top plates. After this, we put on the breathing membrane. Here in the Netherlands, outside is usually colder and wetter than the inside. So you want to let air travel towards the outside and keep the moisture outside. Then we closed the top with a tarp for the rain. The day after, I could attach the ventilation timbers onto the membrane and studs. This is pressure treated pine because this is on the outside. The walls are now weatherproof, so I can start on the roof construction. First, I attach a board to the existing roof construction. This doubles the wood in this spot. Then I attach the joist brackets to this new board. On the other end, the joist will rest on the top plate of the wall. The joist will be connected together with a rim joist. This prevents them from tipping on that side. Construction is in an L shape, so the longer joist will rest on the existing roof and the top plates of the new walls. Under the joist there is a layer of DPC installed again. Every other joist is extra anchored with a hurricane bracket, and every single joist has a corner bracket attached. Then the floorboards could be installed over the joists. This is an extension of an older building, and when this was made, plywood wasn't used often in these kind of applications. So therefore, old-fashioned boards are installed. This is slightly more work, but the smaller pieces are a lot more manageable than bigger sheets of plywood. So it's not all negative. It's relevant to let the ends of the boards rest on a joist so they won't be free floating without support. At the end of each board I use long staples to attach them to the joist. This saves a bit of time and connect them firmly to the joist without splitting the ends. When that was done, I put on the roof a reeving membrane again, and over that a sheet of PVC. This is temporary, and in a later stage the roof material will be installed. By that time the cladding has arrived to my shop, and there I treated the wood with a clear varnish. This is an outside grade of varnish. The wood is very beautiful shiplap western red cedar. The smell of this wood is really nice and the looks are really something. This material could be used without any treatment, but a small amount of time and finish, this keeps the wood in a good shape over a longer period. When the wood is being treated, I could focus on putting the insulation between the timbers. By this time the wood has had a chance to dry. This process of insulation goes very quickly. The glass wool is already at right width, so I could directly install it. Then over the insulation a sheet of plastic is installed, a vapor barrier keeping the warmer air inside. Finally, I could start with the nicest job, the cladding. On the bottom of the ventilation timber, a grid or a profile is installed to keep the bugs and splashing water out. Then I could attach the first board. I used a small pin nail to keep it in position and then use the level to align it. Above each layer of wood, a small expansion gap is needed because the wood will expand and contract because of the moisture. I use the level on every layer and check the air gap. This is handy when starting with a new wall. The ends of the boards were treated with varnish as well, because of the moisture. I permanently attach the boards with a single screw in the stud on every other stud. The screws are 304 stainless steel and I pre-drilled them when installing. When the cladding was done, I could do the inside wall finishing. On the studs, a half an inch of sheet of OSB was installed, and on top of that, plasterboards. This process is quite easy if you work neatly and concentrate on keeping things level and plumb. I put in screws every 12 inch or 3mm. This keeps everything nice and tight. job was done. I'm very happy how it came out. This was quite some work, but I could do a nice and neat job and make it sturdy for the coming decades. Thanks for watching, and please let me know if you have any comments.